I did some shopping this month. I live in Canada, so the only place I usually shop for books is Chapters or Indigo. The only other place I've ever really shopped for books is Amazon, but this month I found out about Book Outlet, which, I mean, their prices are insanely cheap. I believe they're a liquidation site, so they don't have the selection that a normal bookstore would have, but their prices were so good and they had free shipping over $45, so I had to do it. So all the books I'll be mentioning will either be from Chapters or Book Outlet. So the first book I picked up was A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. I picked this book up from Chapters, but I was so excited about the series that I picked the second book, The Last of August, up from Book Outlet when I saw that it was on sale there. I believe that these books are about the descendants of Sherlock and Watson, and I've heard so many good things about this series. I love the show Sherlock, so I'm really excited about this. I've heard nothing but good things. The second book I picked up was The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Obviously, this was a huge book last year. I'm not usually normally someone who reads a ton of romance, unless it's smut. But I do love a good enemies to lovers trope, so this was right up my alley. This was honestly one of the books I was really excited about picking up, so I'm super glad that I have it now. The Sudden Appearance of Hope by Claire North. I haven't heard anyone talk about this book, but it intrigued me and I saw it on sale at Chapters, so I picked it up. I believe this book is about a girl who, anytime she talks to anyone and then leaves, they immediately forget her. I just thought that was a really inventive and intriguing premise, and I'm looking forward to checking this one out. Next, I picked up The Cast by Danielle Steele. I've never read anything by Danielle Steele. I think she writes a lot of more romance type things. I'm trying to branch out more in the types of books I read and the type of author I read, so I thought I'd give one of her books a chance. I picked this up because there's always sales at Chapters where you get 2 bargain paperbacks for $15, and there was another one that I wanted, so this was a book that sounded the most interesting to me. I believe this is a girl who writes for a television series, and Hollywood and like that sort of life really intrigues me, so hopefully I'll enjoy this. The next book is the other book that I picked up in the 2 for $15 section, The Chalk Man by CJ Tudor. I believe this is some sort of mystery thriller that takes place in 2 different times, 1986 and 2016, about a group of boys who draw these little chalk figures to each other, and it's their way of communicating with each other. But in 2016, the main character gets a little chalk figure in the mail, and then one of their friends turns up dead. I love a good thriller. There's not much more to say about that, other than this one sounded really interesting, and I think it's done pretty well, so I look forward to this. The next book I got from Chapters is The Perfect Husband by Lisa Gardner. I actually almost bought a different book by Lisa Gardner that was on sale, but it turned out it was like the 8th book in a series, and this was the series. This is the first book in that series. It's about a woman named Tess who has a child with her husband, but she puts her husband away for murder, I think? Yeah, she puts her husband away for murder. But eventually he escapes, and that's what this book is about. I probably don't need another crime series to read, but I don't know, this one seemed intriguing, and I kind of really like the idea of a woman who puts her husband away and he comes back to like haunt her or whatever, so I'm looking forward to reading it. The next book I picked up is The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. I loved Truly Devious so much, so normally I try not to pick up hardcover books because I'm cheap and broke, but I just needed to read this book immediately. I could not wait for the paperback version to come out, so I am so hyped. I will probably read that this month and let you know what I think. Going again with more romance books to get me out of my comfort zone is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. This book was also very popular last year. This is a book with a main character who has Asperger's, so she hires an escort to help her kind of learn to communicate romantically and sex, and yeah. I'm pretty sure most of you know what this is about since it was such a popular book, but I'm excited to read it. A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I actually don't know a lot about this book, but I've heard such good things. Like, every booktuber I follow on YouTube has said such great things about this book that when I saw it on sale, I was like, impulse purchase. I know that it takes place in like Victorian England or something, and which normally isn't my cup of tea. I'm not a period piece sort of person, but I've read a couple stories recently that I've actually really liked that were kind of from that era, so I'm very intrigued, and it probably won't be something I get to immediately, but I do look forward to reading this in the future. Those were all the books I got from Chapters, so now on to the books I got from Book Outlet. The first thing I bought from Book Outlet is the next 3 books in the Helen Grace crime series. I love the Helen Grace crime series. I think Helen Grace as a character is just fantastic. I especially like the first book in the series, but I enjoyed the next 2 as well. These are 4, 5, and 6, Liar, Liar, Little Boy Blue, and Hide and Seek. I'm not going to say the synopsises because I feel like that would spoil the first 3 books. They're the Helen Grace Mysteries by M.J. Arlidge. And I am so excited to read these. I mean, these are the type of thing that's just always up my alley, so when I'm in a slump, these are good books to go to. The next book I picked up is Ride Hard by Laura Kaye. I believe this is just like a motorcycle smut book, basically. In any given month, I usually read a couple smut books. I just feel like they're easy books to go to in between books with harder themes, I guess. They're kind of easy books to go to unwind and let steam off and just kind of like decompress your brain. I feel like motorcycle smut is like a subcategory that I've just never delved into, so this one was on sale for like $3, so I picked this one up. The next book I picked up was Forgive Me, Leonard, Peacock by Matthew Quick. I've heard about this book for a really long time, but I just never picked it up. This book's main character, Leonard Peacock, decides on his birthday that he is going to kill his former best friend and then himself. I feel like that sort of premise I'm always drawn to, since I just don't understand the kind of feelings you must feel to hurt someone else like that. I'm very interested to read it. I feel like I've heard good things about it. I actually didn't know that they were the author of Silver Linings Playbook, so that's interesting. It's a very short book. It's under 300 pages, and I feel like the font is pretty big, so I should get through it rather quickly. The next book is Bonfire by Krysten Ritter. This is another one of those books about a girl who goes back to her former hometown and kind of realizes the dark secrets in her past as well as in her town. I actually was going to listen to this on audiobook. I assumed that Krysten Ritter would be the one doing the narration because she's an actress, and I just assumed, like, why wouldn't you narrate your own book? And I really like her voice for some reason, so I was like, that would be a great audiobook to listen to, except she doesn't narrate it, it's someone else, so I was like, screw it, I'll just buy it. It's also a very short read, under 300 pages, so this will be a nice book to squeeze out in between some longer books. The next book I picked up was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I'm not usually a big John Green fan. I've read Looking for Alaska, Paper Towns, and The Fault in Our Stars. I did like The Fault in Our Stars. Paper Town and especially Looking for Alaska I was not fans of. So I wasn't going to pick this up at all. Like, I had no intentions of picking this up. But then I heard really good things from booktubers that I watch and really respect their opinions, and they said really good things about this book. So here I am with this book. It's actually a signed copy because the signed copy was cheaper than the unsigned copy. So that was weird, but it saved me $2. So I guess this book, I actually didn't know what this book was about, to be honest. I just knew that many people said it was a good representation of mental health issues. But I guess the book is about some sort of mystery surrounding a fugitive billionaire. I don't know. This will be a book that I kind of go into blind, I guess. The next book is The Vigilante Poets of Selwyn Academy by Kate Hattemer. I haven't heard anything about this book, so I don't really know if it's supposed to be good or bad. It's about a high school that gets taken over by a film crew to film a reality television series. I love reality TV, so I don't know, I think that was like all that drew me to this, is just the idea of your high school being turned into a reality TV show. That just sounded really interesting to me. I mean, I did love Laguna Beach back in the day. So I think this will be a fun, cute book. Also, it's another really short read. I picked up a lot of short reads this time around. The next book is Our Kind of Cruelty by Araminta Hall. Sorry if I'm butchering that. I believe this book is kind of along the same lines as You. where it's about a guy who's kind of stalking and manipulating his way into a girl's life. At least that's what it seems from the synopsis. That he's obsessed with a girl who doesn't give a crap about him, and then... Except it seems from the synopsis that in this book, I don't know if he actually ever dates her or if he's just like stalking her from afar and is becoming obsessed with her. I'm into dark shit, so I'm excited. Speaking of dark shit, Baby Teeth by Zoje Stage. I'm probably mispronouncing that too. First of all, I love this cover. I love the name. I don't know why, I just do. This book is about a mother who is scared to death of her 7-year-old daughter. And she believes that her 7-year-old daughter is manipulative and out to get her. To me, that's just super dark and interesting, and I'm just so excited to read this one. This one was the only book, I think, in my entire order that I paid like more than $5 for because I just needed it. So this one is going at the top of the pile. Those were the books I bought this month. This was a really short video. I actually bought a lot more books this month, but I bought them all in ebook, and I don't know if anybody would want to see an ebook haul since I can't actually show the physical books, but I could still talk about them, and I could just like pop the little covers up here in the corner. Maybe I will do that because I think I bought like 40 ebooks in the last month. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you again next time. Bye.